Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Nathan Lane, Matt Bomer, and Nathan Lee Graham. Okay. That's you. You can put that there. There they are. Yeah, you can just put it. You can just hide it for now. You know. Oh, it's the wrong people. Oh, you're sitting in the wrong order.
Oh, are we?
So, Mr. Lane.
Okay. I see
Multicams
some
aren't
empty seats. It's very upsetting.
Multicams aren't quite theater. They're not quite cinema. I think that they're somewhere in between in this magical space, and a space that you are uniquely suited for. And I just am curious how it's been for you, and what do you think of it, and what do you think of doing this kind of show?
Well, you know, I've had, you know, some really dicey experiences in the past with the multicam. This, to work with you guys and the writer's room you put together, and with the legendary Jimmy Burrows and this great cast, it was, so that makes a huge difference. You know, the process is really, to me, it feels more like the writer's process, because it's constantly evolving and changing, and right up until the very last take. And you're just sort of flying by the seat of your pants, and you have to, it's a whirlwind. It's only 5 days. You start on a Wednesday, rehearse Thursday, Friday. They have the weekend to rewrite it if it needs that, and then, but they're constantly rewriting. And then Monday you camera block, and Tuesday you go through it again, and then you tape it in front of a live audience. So it's people call it this hybrid of theater and film, but it's not. It's like inviting people in to watch you have sex. And, you know, it's sort
of... It goes too fast for you.
Yeah, well, always. But,
yes.
You know, it's... so it's very... but, you know, ultimately, it's all about that night, the show night. And it's very much about the connection with the audience, and so in that sense, it is like theater, and they kind of inspire you, and when you're feeling like, oh, I barely know what this is, and somehow it all comes together, and I think, you know, it certainly helped that all of us came from the theater, including the late great Linda Lavin, and so that it created an immediate rapport and kinship, but I think it also helps to get through this, you know, this process, and it's challenging.
I know, I was there with you through it. I had to look at you through that whole process. Okay, so let's go to Matt. Matt, you played, I'm gonna jump all around. You played football in high school.
Yeah.
You were around jocks.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of them were straight. So let's talk about the straights. If you were in an elevator and you were surrounded by them, how are you pitching this show?
I frequently am.
Yeah. How are you pitching this show, and how do you think we're going to get them, and do you think we're going to get them?
I think it's the same pitch I have to anybody. I mean, it's a show about found family, and so was Friends.
Right.
And so was Cheers. I mean, the fact that these people are who they are is sort of secondary to the fact that it's about people loving and accepting each other for their most authentic selves, and the kind of foibles and you know, ups and downs of living together with the people you love the most in the world. That's
cool. So
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nathan Lee Graham. Yes. If my research, right, how about Nathan Lee Graham in this show? Right? America's gonna dig this. Now, in our research, okay, in getting prepared for tonight, I think the last time you did a multicam, Lucy couldn't say the word pregnant.
Honestly,
right? So tell us about what this experience was like for you.
Well, one had to learn on the curve really quickly because it's thrilling, It's exhilarating, but also terrifying. You want to throw up all the time. Why, God, why am I doing this to myself? And especially for a person who has dyslexia, because we do it so quickly, right? And I'm so used to being in the theater where you have time to learn your lines, or doing single cam, when you have time to learn your lines. And so when the audience sees your work, it's all polished, it's all honed, it's all beautiful. But here, you have to be vulnerable in front of all these people. And you still have to keep the balls in the air, and you sort of have to, be performative even while you're screwing up.
But didn't it get better for you?
It got better.
Yeah. Right.
It got better.
It works if you're working.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It had to get better because I could only have fun doing it, right? The more fun I'm having, the more fun everyone's having. And so it did get better. And I love it so much now, which is crazy because it's terrifying. But it did get better.
That's nice.
And I love it. And, learning how to, my brain, the little people in my brain are like, listen, you black bitch, what is going on?
They're mean to you, those people in your brain.
Inside. They're like, what are you doing to the synapse? We already had this down for your dyslexic ass, And so they go to work now, and learning on the curve and making everything work is exciting.
Well, it's working. I think it's working. Dave, talk about the Golden Girls and the pros and the cons and how it's related to this show and how we don't want it related to this show.
I will say the David Kohan part of me never saw the Golden Girls, but the Max Mutchnick part of me
Loved the Golden Girls.
It's a useful selling tool. You would say to people, well, it's about this group of 4 guys, and they lived in a house in Fire Island, and they were really close, and now they find them. Or you could just say, hey, the gay Golden Girls, and people are like, I get it. I understand what that is. It's 3 men of a certain age, which is already a little not quite accurate, and the mother character. So there are similarities. But it wasn't part of the inspiration. It was just part of the elevator pitch.
Right, people really like talking about the Golden Girls of it all. I want to talk about the guys and the idea that these are 3 out men living a comfortable, happy life and in a safe space, right? But as part of this community, the coming out process it's a rite of passage that we all have to deal with. But most of us live private lives, and we get to do it without anybody watching. I did it just with one guy from high school in my first apartment, and it went very well for me. But you're public figures. Yes, Dave. There. Applaud the allies. Applaud
Give it
the
up for the
allies.
allies. Come on.
Yes. But you're public figures, and you've had to do a lot in front of with the world watching. So I'm curious, Mr. Lane, what has it been like? What was the coming out process like for you as an actor and as a man, as a gay man?
Well, I mean, I was out when I was 21. I told my mother and everybody. But, well, it's funny because Matt's husband has been my publicist for 30 years. His name
Simon Halls.
Simon Halls. And I was the Birdcage where I initially got a publicist, and so this whole I was so naive. I don't know what I was thinking, but it hadn't really occurred to me, and we were about to go into a junket. I just remember he and I were in this like green room or something, and he said, "What do you want to do about your sexuality?" And I said, "Nothing, it's too late now." And he said, "No, people are maybe they're going to bring it up." And I said, yeah, sure. I said, "Well, look, I wanted to be. This is the first leading role I've had in a film. I know I'm in a dress, but it's the first leading role I've had in a film." And I said, "I wanted to be about the performance and not a coming out story, per se. And so I said, you know, I think I'll just say I'd rather not discuss my personal life, which in those days you might as well have said, and by the way, I love the cock. So, you know, it was, you know, and it was at a time when, you know, it was like people, oh, and you don't. And, you know, so people were being outed. It was a whole thing. And I, you know, so not long after that, you know, and I can remember, well, there was, well, what you want to hear about is this. Robin Williams and I, you know, went on Oprah together. And so I was very nervous. I was a nervous wreck. I mean, Robin was used to all of this kind of stuff, and I, you know, I had never met Oprah, and I said, you know, I said to Robin, you know, I can't believe I'm going to be on Oprah, and he said, you're not going to be on Oprah, you'll be near Oprah, and so. And I said to him, I said, look, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to get into, you know, whether I'm gay or not. I'm not prepared to make this, you know, public statement with Oprah. You know, I'm not ready yet for that. And he said, it's okay. You don't have to talk.
Was it related? You weren't ready because it was related to your career? Was it related to your family? Or it was just too big?
Well, the whole thing was, you know, just the notion of becoming a public figure is, you know, it's a strange thing. Yeah. And it was literally the beginning of this kind of stuff, you know. So, and it was Oprah. Yeah. You know, she's, you know, a supreme being. So it was very intimidating. I just wasn't prepared emotionally. To be public, you know, everybody sort of knew, certainly in the theater community, but it wasn't, the notion of making a public statement, I certainly wasn't prepared. And so when we went on, and I don't think Oprah was trying to out me, but she was asking sort of, you know, playful, slightly provocative questions about, you know, why are you so good at all that girly stuff? And when she started,
she wasn't great in the day.
And so when she started to ask all of that stuff, and she was sort of being playful with me, Robin sort of swooped in and diverted the conversation away from that. And
someone's playing marbles upstairs.
That's Oprah. That's Oprah.
Sorry, Oprah.
Yes.
And so anyway, he was being very protective of me, but. You know, and then, you know, I don't know how, after that, I did an interview with Us Magazine, and they asked if I was gay, and I said, I'm 40 and single, and I work a lot in the musical theater. You do the math.
And there it is. And by the way, you can see that. But I love that. So, Matt, in the show, we deal with gay men, old and young, right? We're covering all ages in our world, and it's, you know, been around since ancient Rome and through to Pornhub, right? And I'm just curious, do you have in your life any gay Yodas? Any silver foxes that have led your way? I mean, there are a couple of them in my life that are out here, some bitches that, like, I have good teeth because of them. You know, Barry knows. Yeah, he's out there.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry it's taking me so long to say this. Thank you, everybody, for being here
yes.
tonight on a Thursday night. Thank you to everyone on the live stream for giving us your time. It means a lot. In terms of gay Yodas, a lot of them are on stage right now.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's true. I mean, idols, icons, people I've looked up to, people I've looked to. I mean, I was...
gay you will be.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, I remember being a kid in the drama room library, which was in a closet, and the metaphor isn't lost on me. But I would leaf through, this is pre-Birdcage, and I would leaf through all of the plays, and it seemed like every play that I loved, when I would turn to the cast photo, there was Nathan Lane. And I was like, who was this person that is the king of American theater? He's in everything. And so to get to work with, you know, a Yoda, and an icon and an inspiration is amazing. And you guys have been hugely formative to me as well, starting on Will and Grace. My husband, Ryan Murphy, who brought me into this whole thing,
Yes.
has been a huge inspiration to me and so wise and so thoughtful and an architect of my career in a lot of ways. So
But
a
this
lot of angels, got a lot of angels and some
That's
great
nice.
straight allies too. And
Well, yeah, no, this is a straight guy who's now created 2 gay shows. I mean, we're out of Y. This won't be the first time a straight guy come out at a Y, right? Is there something you need to tell us? Or what's your deal? Why do you like this subject matter so much?
Here's my confession. There is money to be made in gay television.
Yes. Okay, to you then. I guess he's going to leave it at that.
I will add one thing. Because I've been around Max and his group of friends who have become my friends, and I've grown to love them and find them hilariously funny, and always thought that they are the most interesting subject matter. I've loved the humor. I've loved the way they interact with each other. The love, the edge, the camp. All of it was interesting, and I found it to be the funniest way to do a show.
That's nice, it's true. Okay, so they're gonna play me off in a minute. So Dave and I didn't know when we got into this racket with the 3 of you what serious method actors you were, right? And we do we talk a lot about Grindr and the dating apps on the show. And little did we know that these 3 had gone ahead and made Grindr profiles for themselves as their characters. And I thought that tonight would be as good a night of any to have them read their Grindr profiles to you. Jerry, Bunny, Jerry, Arthur, let's start with you, big man.
Okay. Profile name, Bunny S. About me, a bunny with money. A hairless hair. A silly rabbit who believes tricks are not just for kids. A Broadway overture in human form. Once called a bellboy mother, still not over it. My tags, the gay Gatsby, still got it, fluent in martini. Legacy gay, lingerie zaddy, big bunny energy. Height 6'2" in 6-inch heels. Pronouns he, him, available. Ethnicity, circumcised. Age, mid-century modern.
I mean, what's not sexy about that? Incredible backstory work on your part as an actor. Really incredible.
I would swipe.
God,
Right.
that's good writing.
Okay.
Lingerie Zaddy is what I'm going to call you from now on. Profile name, Jerry F. I'm not dropping the last name either. We have, yeah. About me, I'm a flight attendant, so consider me a first-class flirt. I look good at 40,000 feet and can get more than just your tray table in an upright and locked position. I'm okay with luggage, but don't like baggage. My tags, hashtag warm nuts.
These are unbelievable profiles.
Hashtag exit row ho. Hashtag carry on cutie. Height, 5'11", but 4'6" when I'm the little spoon.
Adorable.
Weight, light enough to be a carry-on. Pronouns, he, him, ho. Religion, former practicing Mormon, currently practicing more men. Age, less.
Arthur's Grindr profile. Profile name, Arthur, but you can call me Miss Side-Eye. About me, fluent in English, French, and bitch. Serving cunt since Studio 54. I walked so Beyonce could slay. Looking for someone who moisturizes and minds their own damn business. My safe word is Celine Dion's 1996 Grammy look. My tags, clap back daddy, rich auntie energy, Nopra, cunty culture. No, that's cunty couture.
Yeah.
I would do that in the show too.
Yeah.
And then we would just do it over again.
Yeah.
And then you would laugh again.
Tape is cheap.
Like this, cunty couture. There you go. Pronouns, he, him, his. Ethnicity, black girl magic. Religion, Christian, Dior. Age, irrelevant. Black don't crack.
We're going to take some questions from the audience.
How exciting.
Okay,
Lovely.
you ready? Here we go. What's a joke that got cut from the show but you wish didn't? Anybody?
Richard Kind, when we went to Fire Island, mentioned some of the men I had picked up.
I know what this is.
And one was called Prolapsed Pete. And my line was, oh, Prolapsed Pete. He was an even bigger asshole than his asshole.
And I mean, do you know what it's like to run a show where that's what you have to cut? I mean, like that level of goodness, and we have to take it out of the show because everything's about time.
Season 2.
Right, season 2, right. It's a movable feast. Okay, what does it mean to you?
Wait, I want to answer that question.
Oh, sorry, honey, go.
Please.
I apologize.
We were at the
right.
at the Shove It In the pilot.
Yes.
The motel.
There's a giant part. You all just watched the pilot, right?
Yeah.
Right, and so he's going to talk about a very sad thing that will be released online.
Yes.
Okay.
We had the brilliant Coco Peru, Miss Coco Peru,
Yes.
Yes.
as our
Clinton Lou.
proprietor.
Yes.
And she was serving up the drink special that night, a slow fin jizz. And when he's asking me about my family and I get really worked up and I spill the drink on myself, I used to say, oh, great, now I'm covered in jizz. and you said, and how do you feel about that? And I was like, good, or something like that. Or something sheepish and hypersexual, but I love that.
It was fantastic.
Love jizz.
Okay. Yes. Right. My daughter's here. Okay.
Sorry.
Right. Okay.
He wrote
she gets it. She lives in the house with us. Okay. So, how do you refrain from laughing during each take? I mean, that's to everybody. You know, the pen is really. Anybody?
Oh, it's funny. I don't think of us breaking up a lot.
We don't.
I mean, there a couple of times, but not where it was like, Dom
would
DeLuise and Burt
No.
Reynolds or something, where you just,
Right.
there were a lot of outtakes. And no, I don't know why. Maybe because we're all so nervous. We don't. No, I don't think we do break up.
The
Also
hardest
rehearsal.
it ever was for me was bubble butt inserts for a pear-shaped bottom.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
specific.
bubble butt inserts for pear-shaped men over 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because you guys are so you're serious and you're into the work the night that we film, and you just want to get it right, and so there really isn't a lot of that goes on. So somebody out there wants to know, you play friends who've and by the way, I mean I think we before we wrap, like we're going to acknowledge Linda and just talk about that for a minute because it was A very, very, you know what, let's just do that now, okay? We had a very profound experience this year that was, tragic and was, David, we've never had to deal with anything like this ever. And over the Christmas break, we were 7 episodes in, and Linda got sick, and she was gone in 2 weeks. And it was absolutely brutal. David and Nathan and myself were talking to her, and we thought we were going to get through it. And you all will see what we wrote. But one of the gifts that she gave us at this time was she said to us, I want you to write everything. I want you to put everything into the show. Tell the truth. And why don't you...
About what's happening to me.
Yeah, and talk about...
That was her edict.
Yeah.
Was, when she was sick, she's like, if I'm going to be compromised, I don't want to, deny why I'm actually compromised. She really was ready to do battle, and, so that was the directive, and that was what we heeded, we put in what actually happened to her.
Yeah, so when you see this episode, and as you all know, tomorrow night, all 10 episodes drop, and we hope you binge them and then keep your TV on and keep watching them, right? But this guy gives the most unbelievable performance, and it's almost too much to talk about because it's so real, but I think it's kind of interesting to know that what Nathan says when he comes into the apartment is almost verbatim the conversation that Linda had with her husband right before she perished. And so it was, and she gave us this blessing and her husband gave us this blessing, go ahead and put it in the show. And so we did. I mean, do you three want to add anything about her? Because they...
Oh, well, look, we adored her, and it was, I knew her from the theater, and we didn't know each other well, but I was a huge fan of hers, and we would always say, I really hope we get to work together someday. So the fact that it happened and she was playing my mother was significant and emotional, and she was, anyone who saw her you're all New Yorkers, anyone who saw her on stage knows how extraordinary she was. She was just, there was nobody like her, and she could do comedy or drama brilliantly, and she could, she's a great singer, could play the piano. She did everything. And so this was an incredibly happy, this whole experience has been a very happy one for me, but getting to work with Linda, and I know, Nathan Lee and Matt feel the same way. It was just an extraordinary experience, and she called to tell me the day after Christmas that she had been diagnosed with lung cancer, but she said she was going to start radiation, and she was optimistic about it, and I said, well, whatever, the most important thing is your health. It's just a TV show. We'll do whatever needs to be done, and however much you want to do it, and I shared, I'm a cancer survivor, and so we talked about that, and I was able to say how much I loved her, and we were all looking forward to going back and finishing the season. And then 3 days later, she was gone.
But she died a happy woman, and
Yeah, I mean, she went out at the top of her game, and I think she was, I think this was an incredibly happy experience for her.
Yeah, we're wrapping, and they're telling us to wrap, but I just want to say this about her because she was so special. Linda loved working, and she could not have been happier on this job. She loved her man, and she told him so to the bitter end. She wanted to live in Malibu. That was always this thing, and that's where her life ended. And because she had gotten herself a house in Malibu, so there was something very, very incredible about it. We've got to make this a little bit happier before we go away. So.
Well, tell them when Steve called you and said her therapist wanted to talk to you.
Oh, honey, I don't want to tell anybody that story.
Oh, you don't?
It's so funny. Now we're even. Now we're even.
No?
Yeah. No, I don't want to tell that story.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
But it's a lovely story.
I know, but it's only about me.
Oh,
So,
You know, I've told it elsewhere.
you have?
Oh,
Have you?
it's such a beautiful story.
Okay, so it's gonna be you guys, okay? But I learned from this guy, and I said, hey, I got a phone call that from Steve, Linda's husband, that he wanted me to get in contact with her shrink, and I also have I'm going to try to do this quick without falling apart, and I told Nathan, and I said, and you said to me, you need to find boundaries. You need to find boundaries. Because I said, I gave my number so she can get in touch with me and we can talk about this. And you said, I have a problem with boundaries. And then soon after that, I saw an email come into my email, and I really ignored it because we were just so in it and just trying to get through this experience. And I eventually opened it because my long-suffering assistant, Katie Bomer, read it, and she said, you need to read this. And it was that Linda was in therapy the last day of her life. Oh, it's very hard for me to talk about. And she was very happy. She was very happy. That's too real for me. Okay, in my house, we like to do hot takes. And I'm changing the subject. I talk about that, lady. We love to do hot takes, right? And I want to end on a hot take from each of you. Let's start with you.
A hot take. Oh, okay.
Come on. Don't you have one on the top of your head or on a blue card?
No, I don't. You wrote this.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh.
I didn't write anything.
Yeah. Nathan Lane hot take. Here it is.
He's giving me too much credit. Will you want that?
Okay, here's the hot take. Art can't be made by committee, and I think this show is an example of that. Hulu and 20th supported the visions of the writers and actors that were trying to create it.
This would have been so much better if you just played it like it was a fucking thing instead of read it.
He's marking it. It's a table read.
I mean, he's never marked a line in his life, and he's got to do it here at the Y.
But why are we pretending to make these statements?
I don't know. I'm trying to... My job was to sell tonight. My job was to sell.
Oh, my God.
Matt, will you take it over from this man?
Oh.
Matt, do you have a hot take off the top of your head that you could share with this audience?
The sitcom is back.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Especially when the characters talk like real people and we can push the envelope a little bit. And you've got these two genius writers at the helm. These two brilliant actors.
But Matt, say your real one. Say your real one of life.
Okay, Othello tickets for $900, really? No. No, theater is not only for the rich people, especially Shakespeare. What's wrong with you? Figure something out, people. This is not what Broadway's supposed to be. Sorry.
There's no such thing as a niche audience. This show is for everyone. RuPaul was a global hit, for God's sakes. Enough said, really. I mean, listen. If you like to laugh and feel good about yourself, you're going to watch our show.
There you go. That's a hot take.
That's it.
You want to wrap it up? You can wrap it up. It's time for us to say goodnight. So you want to say goodnight to these people? I won't write it.
We love you all. Thank you.
We're all going to go back to my house and have cookies right now.
Thank you all.
Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.